Hi, I'm Dr. Gordon Ressler, the president and founder of Robots in Space. And if you want to get the latest in space technologies and business, listen to the Cold Star Project.
This show is for entertainment purposes only and is not intended to be what is termed professional advice. The Cold Star Project is proudly presented by the Operational Excellence Society. Cold Star Tech is a supporter of the OPEX Society, and Jason Kanigan is a member of its board of advisors. Talk with us at Cold Star Tech to find out more about the OPEX Society and what we can achieve together in your organization, or just visit opexsociety.org. Thanks for joining us for today's show. You know, in the space industry, we need personalities. We have a few, and they're a little dry. Some of them are a little dry. So today's guest is a personality in the space industry, and she's anything but dry. Her name is Eva Blaisdell. She goes by the moniker, the stage name, the stage presence, if you will, of Lady Rocket. And she has a very interesting background as a former Silicon Valley and international executive of large organizations, third generation space maverick, she calls herself, and co-founder of Copernic Space. So join me in welcoming Eva Lady Rocket. Welcome. So how and why did you pick the Lady Rocket brand? You know, it was a choice, obviously. You're presenting that way today, and it's affected your impact over time. So how has that worked?
Well, I am a brand. I am Lady Rocket. I am authentic, and I appreciate your question because it goes to a serious part behind it. Although I like frequently to bring a lightness and passion and cuddliness to space, because often it lacks it. The reason that Lady Rocket became so active and so visible is because I believe that in the time where space industry needs to develop a relationship with, allow me to call it, average people, not STEM, not scientists, not those who follow astronauts, not those who already go on NASA web pages, but most of the people who do not do that. Why? Because they feel intimidated, ill-prepared, disinterested because they are not into science, but most of them are into music, fashion, entertainment. This is why when I won $300 million government bid for California Space Center land, it's one of the biggest government bids recently, the motivation behind it was exactly what ultimately led to Lady Rocket, to build a place that will belong not to NASA, not to SpaceX, not to Jeff Bezos, but to all of them, plus us, where across the street from Vandenberg Space Base, we could come and experience space in the way that will make us excited about it, through entertainment, music, fashion, identity, news, and inspiration, and startups, because behind Lady Rocket's brand is also 30 years of my experience as a Silicon Valley entrepreneur, space entrepreneur and investor, and a champion of space for many, many years. Practically from the time when I was a little girl, because my father was a creator of a Polish cosmonaut and space program, renowned scientist, and a president of the Polish Air Force Academy. So I was a little Lady Rocket when I was a little child. Now, going back to brand, I decided to become Lady Rocket because my husband and my Hollywood producers started to call me this way after they saw the way I interact with the young generation. And I'm talking about kids from 2 all the way to 30. And this became my nickname, especially in certain Los Angeles circles. And then when my seriousness of purpose and when the California Space Center was put on hold through absolutely nonsense, small local politics of city council of city of Lompoc, I decided to carry my message and mission by launching Lady Rocket Foundation and expanding on what you see here today, a way to carry a message of space in every way I can, through my personality, through my ability to talk about space as an entrepreneur, investor, technologist, but also as a fashion person, as an entertainment person, as a philanthropist, because I think if there's something weak about the space message is that we are so one-dimensional. And we have so many incredible people who talk about space fantastically. But nowadays, since we have to bring entire nation into the passion for space, we have to be multilingual in our ability to speak about space. And Lady Rocket, I would like to think about it, is that too. An ultimate part, not ultimate, but one that I know that you probably wanted to talk about also, is the fact that I am also a very experienced brand personality and also brand creator. And under my own influence and influence of investors and Los Angeles friends, I decided to launch Lady Rocket as a commercial brand to provide incremental funding for my foundation, for my startups. And because the space is empty, we have beautiful models that Louis Vuitton hires, puts next to the Louis Vuitton luggage, pretending that it's going to space. I said, okay, we are in space, but here comes authentic brand, philanthropist, knowledgeable about space, investor, entrepreneur, and yes, having her own fashion line, and having my own moon mission, because Lady Rocket is also founder of Copernic Space, which is funding first private rover mission to moon. So anyway, I could go on, but allow me to stop myself here for a moment, because I'm sure you will have some helpful hints and questions to help me conclude.
Right. Well, I like what you say about needing to communicate more broadly, because if somebody isn't interested in STEM already, right, it can be difficult to get in. So to these conversations. So having somebody like you talking to a broader audience. I also like what you said about seriousness of purpose. You used that phrase. So I'd like to hear more about your mission, which we've touched on. But you know, you're carrying this out, you're staying on brand, and you use the word tragedies in your positioning, which is a scary word, right? Like most people want to avoid uncomfortable topics, and yet you've deliberately gone at it. So tell us about your mission and that use of that word tragedies.
And remind me about the word tragedy, because I agree with you, this is not the word to lead with unless you are starting a new revolution, which I might. Let me announce it here. First, at your show, I am announcing that I think we are ready for a space revolution. And what I mean by that is democratization and opening of space to those that, for example, I embrace kids from Lompoc across the street from Vandenberg Space Base with, you know, Elon Musk, SpaceX, NASA, 0 programs inside of the city of Lompoc that would inspire, encourage, and support opportunity of mostly Mexican, Black, and white kids too, to leverage their incredible location. So if I'm talking about tragedy, I would name that a tragedy, and I'm doing something about it. Tragedy is that city of Lompoc, after I created a consortium of powerful 4 companies who wanted to build California Space Center with me, based their decision to interrupt negotiations with me on the fact that I did not have a $300 million in my bank yet. I was supposed to have 12 months time to do it, and that I never constructed a big construction. I had Bechtel, I have Turner to do it for me. So tragedy is when incompetent politicians, driven by a small, pitiful personal interest stop something as powerful as California Space Center. But you got me on this subject. I wasn't planning to do it, but as you can feel, I feel very passionate about it. But otherwise, I stay away from the word tragedy because I agree with you, my dear host. Can you help me figure out where did you find this word in my activities?
Oh, it's in your mission statement. I can link to it if you want later on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I have to have my digital marketing people review it, and I will do too, because
Okay.
I agree with you. This is not what you normally lead with.
Right.
So to go back to non-tragedy and go back to how I fulfill Lady Rocket mission, how I make it different, because definitely I am not your another brand trying to sell panties, bras, or vitamins, or sell tickets to my shows. Everything that I'm doing, I'm self-funding, by the way. Also because I haven't had the time to fundraise, and also because, and I know it's your follow-up question, but let me just make a little segue. Also because space industry and space companies are very poor philanthropists. They are not particularly generous, especially to something that is not STEM or not very traditional, old-fashioned way of scratching someone's, back for, delivering the same message to the same audience in the same places, but never venturing out of it. So this is why I'm carrying it on my own, because I don't have a time to go and try to pitch something to the audience that is not predisposed to do what I am doing. But it's changing. So Lady Rocket brand stands for what I think you and all of us Americans have in us. And this is what attracted me to abandoning a very good life in Europe, escaping from Poland. And I am not going to say that I risked my life, but in some way I did, because if I was stopped on the border and asked to return to Poland, I would probably lose my opportunities to study, and my family would be punished. And my father did. He lost his general's position because I left Poland to come where? To this country, to the United States of America, because I believed so strongly that you can be free to express and do what you want to do, as long as it, of course, fits, the esteemed purpose. So what I'm doing with Lady Rocket, I'm carrying my commitment to this country, and maybe I sound a little bit overly serious, but this is a naked truth. I came to this country because we were a beacon of freedom, beacon of unlimited possibilities, a very attractive place, because I had offers from Hollywood and I had offers from Silicon Valley and the university to get my degree. I chose degree in Silicon Valley, but here I am in Hollywood, because it's never too late, especially for Lady Rocket, who is ageless. This is what people tell me, because if you knew my age, you would be also surprised. Well, right. I said ageless. So maybe at some point, but since I stated ageless, and I made claims about not selling vitamins or tickets to the seminars, but I am pursued by investors, my husband, friends, to transform my space passion and my ageliness into the Ageless Planet lifestyle brand. Okay. And I am considering it.
Yeah.
I'm considering it because also it would give me another platform to talk about astronauts, to talk about NASA, to talk about science of NASA. You find in me someone who looks sometimes critical, not critical at us. I see where they could still do so much more by exposing to the average person their accomplishments but in the Lady Rocket language,
Mhm.
not their scientific language, because it gets people lost. NASA is one of the most incredible places where science meets quest of age, quest of being ageless, phenomenal biomedicine. So Lady Rocket is also entrepreneur with an incubator
Mhm.
where I hover above certain projects which I nourish and try to grow to the certain definition, and then I spin it out as a startup,
Mhm.
just like I did with Copernic Space, which is absolutely phenomenally successful and ready to make unprecedented contribution to space industry.
Okay. For your Lady Rocket Foundation, who is a
Yeah.
good candidate for your help there? Who do you help, and how can they approach you for that?
Let me give you an example with whom I am currently supporting. Let me start with rhinos in South Africa. Maybe you didn't expect it, but let me start with unexpected. Lady Rocket Foundation is using my technology know-how, my presence in the blockchain and cryptocurrency industry, my personal knowledge of non-fungible tokens, NFTs, my satellite startups, in order to extend help to something that is also a beautiful example that, again, space companies, space industry doesn't do enough, showing how we, space people and space technology, can help on Earth. So Lady Rocket Foundation, pretty much me, myself, I, with artists and Grant Blaisdell and my digital team, launched first unprecedented NFT-based campaign to finance satellites to help locate poached rhinos for saving the survivors in South Africa, led by Dr. Johan Marias, who is one of the most recognized veterinary, who, when I asked him, how can I help? He said, you know what, you are Lady Rocket. So I feel that you are the right person to ask for a satellite for my organization, because I need to know where poached rhino is as soon as possible so I can get to it and save it. And just for the statistic, we lost over 2,000 rhinos in 2019. We lost all white rhinos. It is climate change, it's a wildlife, it's a humanitarian, it's a space industry mission. Isn't it beautiful if we can say, yes, because of satellites of Lady Rocket and NASA, we are protecting wildlife. So this is one answer. Another one, a week ago, I launched, together with my ambassador in Zagreb, Croatia, spectacular, exciting, beautiful, 6 weeks long Lady Rocket Mars inspiration classes for 150 students in small country of Croatia, but strategically important to us, the United States, because of proximity to Crimea, to Ukraine, to Russia, frequently visited by our admirals and US Navy, but lacking a relationship with our country that would make average person there said, oh, look at this. They think about us from the United States. Hey, yes, NASA JPL, they recognize us. So I invited NASA JPL to provide me with materials. And together with co-founder of Lady Rocket's Foundation, Susan Copeland, who is 22 years experience educator from Lompoc, we created incredible, entertaining, fun, art-driven education about Welcome to Mars. I had a wonderful session, an event before opening of the Oscars Museum here in Los Angeles, which was full of celebrities. And I did that because I think the role of films and entertainment and being in a fun places is another way that Lady Rocket engages those who, do not follow even Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or NASA. And I could give you a lot of examples. One, it kind of answering the question also what space industry is not doing and what Lady Rocket is doing. And this is why I am doing it. Every rocket launch is a spectacular billion-dollar event that can be transformed into symphony orchestra or hip hop concert or both, art exhibit, place for families to come not only to watch 60 seconds of rocket launch and then go nowhere with nothing to show for. And this is why Lady Rocket, within my own means, hosts special events during the SpaceX rocket launches and United Launch Alliance, which is not as visible, but absolutely incredible rocket company, the only rocket which can take us to Mars. So on my California Space Center land, I host those type of events to embrace whom? Local community, but also to invite Los Angeles and international guests. And especially when we have such an incredible event like European Space Agency coming to Vandenberg to launch its biggest satellite called Copernicus, and satellite that is going to help us manage the climate change. No one was there. But Lady Rocket, my team were there. We had a show, we recorded, we promoted, we celebrated it in a way that is shared with average people.
Okay. This is kind of a loaded question. I think we already know the answer because of the choices you made, but who do you believe has the biggest impact on young people and their potential interest in space or STEM? Is it educators and public personas, specific nations, companies? What do you think?
Well, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to go with the public personas because that's the route that you've taken. But also everybody recognizes Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos more than even the company names. I think they have an idea of who these people are. So I'm going to go with
yes,
that.
And so I would say definitely public persona, but I lack the answer. Who would it be? Because to me, a definition of influencing, especially those who are not interested in STEM, I am into diversity of talents, diversity of access, diversity of means and ways we are bringing space back to Americans as a place where they can identify with. And if those are the criteria, with all respect, neither Jeff Bezos nor Elon Musk make a standing because they are exclusive, elusive, unapproachable, have $40 million to buy my ticket, I have a time for you. And I'm only slightly exaggerating the message because this is what I get from the average people that I talk to. Because when I walk through Westfield shopping mall, people approach me and said, "Oh, where did you get this jacket? I love your blue hair. What's it all about?" And I have incredible opportunity to do something priceless on the spot market research. So I am speaking not as I'm speaking as people in the shopping mall, Beverly Hills or in the Valley. So I think that both of them have missed an opportunity to to become good answers to your very good questions. And I even extended a helping hand by sending invitation to Jeff Bezos, saying, please come and meet your future astronauts. And I sent him a picture of me at Vandenberg Space Base, so he knows that I'm not some kind of, a foundation trying to get his money, but I am a respectable space entrepreneur, investor, spending my own money for the kids who were standing next to me from Lompoc. that indeed deserve attention of not only Lady Rocket, but people like him and others. So depending when you go and ask who is the influencer, if you go to the Boys and Girls Club, if you go to Lombok, if you go to Beverly Hills, if you go to Warsaw, Poland, if you go to Zagreb, if you go to Zamość, if you go to Vilna, if you go to some parts of Paris, you might get an answer that Lady Rocket is influencing me. Okay, my goal is to have resources and means to perpetuate, I think, the right way of me to do it. And my upcoming moon mission, we hired SpaceX to deliver the lunar orbital, incredible little Mars rover with payload that is in the hands of Copernic Space, which is an incredible startup organized to democratize space and make it affordable and available to everybody. And we will be using this payload to provide an opportunity for philanthropic and not so philanthropic way to take a payload and make it relevant to people, because right now no one cares what Elon Musk is taking to space. People care about him because he's cool, he's unique, he's wonderful, and he's a billionaire. But they don't care what type of payload he takes into space, because there is no relevance. We're going to make payload relevant to average people by variety of diversified means, including music. Music is something that I'm taking to moon.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I agree with you about the distance and the unapproachableness of those figures. But Bill Nye the Science Guy is way more approachable, for example.
But he keeps his agenda to science,
right.
And no one is going to chase him in a Beverly Hills shopping mall.
Right, just for an
he's
autograph.
He's not going to
maybe.
get attention there. So,
Right.
I'm great that he's catering to this particular, segment, but this is preaching to the choir.
Right.
I am preaching to those whom we need to convert.
Right. Yeah, because they're not going to be interested in some science topic or some technical explanation. They have no interest.
Right.
Yeah.
But they will ask me, where did you get this T-shirt?
Right.
Oh, I love this color. Hey, why do you have a blue hair? That's why Lady Rocket brand. And yes, I will launch a billionaire's astronaut training place. Yes, I'm probably going to launch Lady Rocket Cosmetics, but based on NASA stem cell technology, whose license was offered me. And yes, I will have a generosity of spirit to put my money as I am, where my mouth is. In addition to young people, I've successfully started Lady Rocket Entertainment and Media, and this is why I'm accredited also and invited to the meetings with Elon Musk, incognito, as as a Trojan horse, Lady Rocket in the sheep's clothes, as a media person, because I believe that the time is so dramatic, so intensive, and unless space industry speaks a different language, we are not going to engage average Americans, as we did with Apollo 11 mission, when it was our mission. When people were sending $5 bills to NASA saying, please take my money, go for it. There is zero similar passion in our nation to do that. And I would like to also extend my style, my community relationships to Space Force, which is another Space Force. And, people on the streets are confused, concerned, and I created community events in Lombok because Vandenberg had the chance to be nominated for the headquarters. And boy, the questions that I got, and then I said, you know what, it's so nice that you are trying to explain to us, because we don't know what it's all about. What does it mean to us? And they were, I had their attention and possibly a little bit of trust.
Yeah, all very good things. So
Thank you.
we could start with that as to what your biggest frustration with the space industry is this lack of connection and a lack of giving away for the average person to be impassioned about space. And
yeah, and you know, in some way I am glad, because this is why Lady Rocket was created. And I carry the mission every way I can, on me, in me, outside of me, even my hair, but also through the authenticity of being experienced entrepreneur from Silicon Valley, technologist, who led Mission Impossible tasks for Hewlett-Packard and some of the very prominent startups in Silicon Valley. So there is authenticity and preparation and readiness of competence, not only, you know, having, you know, a message out there. But I would say that for the sake of the space industry, and I am happy to, and I reached out to NASA JPL to say, come on, guys, you know, you are doing incredible things, going to Mars. Come on over. I have a great hip hop artist. Let's do Mars concert. And you know what? The PR people, it was like 3 years ago, from NASA JPL said, well, this is, you know, that's not what we are interested in it. And, you know, and I was invited as media to the session, you know, about Mars. And I said, listen, I have a standing by some best hip hop people who want to support your message so we can celebrate you guys. So people pay attention. And this was a low-level PR person at NASA JPL, blew me off. So I created my own. And yes, NASA, Bezoses of the world, time to take a space message to the different orbit. Also, another thing, space conferences. For us, by us, locked, inclusive, preaching to the choir, not having attractive enough subjects on the agenda. I never got invitation to speak on Mars conference that is starting tomorrow. Well, I am probably the only private person who is paying for Mars education all over the world and in places like Lompoc, launched Mars Fashion, and is working with a prominent brands to launch campaign. What time is it on Mars? See? So
with different orbits and different day cycles.
But they need different orbits. Otherwise, American people will ask tough questions. Why should we spend money on space when we have a climate change problems? When our kids don't have? We have to have the answers. I have answers. They don't ask me that because I'm putting my money behind creating a small satellite so he can hover around Malibu area where I am to find fires before they become big fires. Okay, I am doing everything I can to save wildlife, and I have some incredible programs for climate change, so I have a good answers, and I want to help space industry to have their answers. I am also willing to help Jeff Bezos to find some kind of rhythm to his activities. And I will let you know how it goes, because it's not like I'm going to, you know, work too hard to help him with the message, because, you know, I am very busy and I am needed in many places.
Okay. Well, what are you most proud of as far as accomplishments go so far?
That I am able to carry the legacy of my family to my third generation, my son, fourth generation, Grant Blaisdell, Californian, Angelino, but now deployed in Europe, because we've launched Copernic Space, which is using blockchain and cryptocurrency, and Europe has much better, you know, legal structures. Even Switzerland has significantly better legal structures than the United States of America when it comes to using a cryptocurrency, which ours is a valid one because we tie to specific space assets. So we have our people in Switzerland, we have people in Ukraine, the best programmers when it comes to blockchain, and Grant is currently in Warsaw, Poland, where I was born. And my granddaughter, Ulysses, is already, she's very, very young, but I can already see that she is building a relationship to space. She has a beautiful NASA astronaut outfit. And her name Ulysses is because she's a great granddaughter of President Ulysses Grant. So I am proud of that. I am proud that that I won that I won California Space Center, government bid, that I was willing and able to put a lot of personal money, passion, knowledge, expertise to create this bid and create an opportunity for possibly. And I will make it happen, but it's difficult. I have the saying to fight City Hall, I'm experiencing it, but I am elevating my fight. So doing it and not letting it go, finding a way to carry on by launching Lady Rocket Foundation. I am very proud of having Copernic Space as a way for me to finance, and our goal is to contribute $500 billion, and it's a lot, and you can definitely look at this number and say, okay, what is she talking about, $500 billion? This is the potential that we calculated for enabling American space economy to come to its fullness through new methods of funding and elevating availability of space ventures to average Americans, and providing transparent, authentic way of using NFTs or token for them to take a position in it. And 500 billion, because this is when we could create economy sizable enough. So we, the United States of America, can use space economy as a platform for new style of funding, inclusion, diversity, equity, and equality. And Copernic Space technically is positioned to do that. We've invented the platform, the token. We have a project that deserve this type of attention. And then I am proud that as a woman, as an immigrant woman with a European accent, I am able to carry on because there are not too many Europeans who cut it in this country. And definitely not European women. And I am proud of being able to do it despite of the venture capital, which doesn't finance women. Okay, and I am one of them. I was in Silicon Valley. They were coming knocking on my door when I had a different role. But try to knock on that door when you are a woman, it's a different story.
Well, how should people get a hold of you then, Lady Rocket? If they want to talk to you about these kinds of things, media appearances, venture capital, and other issues.
And let me just complete your very good question. Who I would like to help? Because I'm sorry I didn't give you. I started with rhinos and I didn't end it. Women and men, entrepreneurs, who are looking for courage, soon funding, incubator, and something that I do very well, I create a spectacular business model and a market creation model that space startups frequently lack. They have a technology, they have a new satellite, but they never think, okay, who will buy it? And they don't have a good answers to why they will buy it. With my experience from, including being the only woman general manager at Take No Prisoners Compact Computers, gone now, but it used to be a premier company, I am kind of a virtuoso, an artist of space business models. So I definitely do that. We are operating incubator on as needed basis, both in Lompoc and here in Los Angeles. So, for example, I have several startups that I hover in my incubator, and then just like what I have now, Boys and Girls Club, inner city kids. I've reached out to kids, of course, in Los Angeles, downtown, in Compton, international kids, because, space is a beautiful ambassador of our American generosity, I would like to say, because, we make space available politically to everybody. So I support schools, especially in small countries that cannot get on the agenda of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or perhaps even NASA, because everybody goes to London, everybody goes to Paris, everybody goes to Monte Carlo, but try to get them to Poland, Lithuania, Ukraine, or Croatia. Lady Rocket is there where others don't go, okay? So, and of course, send media, because I'm so busy. So I appreciate your invitation, because although I have offers from Hollywood to produce my show, and we are doing it, I'm not doing it fast enough because of all my other activities. And send investors for Copernic Space, but only right ones. It's not like we need your money. We are giving you opportunity to participate in one of the most noble endeavors that we need to be stewards of, which is how to finance space with dignity, stewardship, responsibility for not sending to moon another bottle of perfumes or Nike shoes because someone paid. It's a celestial body that needs to be treated appropriately. It's not for sale. And Lady Rocket and Copernic Space know that.
All right. Well, how can they get in touch with you?
Yes, ladyrocketfoundation.org.
Mm-hmm.
There is a place that provides for an email contact. Lady Rocket Space on Instagram. And also I am on Twitter, of course. It's Lady Rocket Eva Blaisdell. But email, the best is through ladyrocketfoundation.org. And also my personal email is eva.blaisdell, BLAISDELL, @californiaspacecenter.com.
Very good. Well, thank you for doing this.
My pleasure.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. We need more presences out there in the marketplace, the educational areas, doing things like Lady Rocket, bringing in everybody. I mean, I'm not for everybody, and I know that, and I'm not even trying to be for everybody, but that she's trying to bring more people who are not already interested in space sort of into the fold. And I appreciate that a lot, because again, it's hard work, and it's work that I personally am not willing to do. I need to focus on other things. So it was really great to have her on and hear this perspective and find out different ways that we can include people in this idea of space and space exploration. Talk to you soon.